Eric.
Well, as for those prisoners, President Trump is demanding that our European allies take more action to deal with those ISIS fighters. The president tweeting this, quote, "The United States is asking Britain, France, Germany, and other European allies to take back over 800 ISIS fighters that we captured in Syria and put them on trial. The U.S. does not want to watch as these ISIS fighters permeate Europe, which is where they're expected to go. We do so much and we spend so much. Time for others to step up and do the job that they are so capable of doing. We are pulling back after 100% caliphate victory." For more on this, Nile Gardiner joins us from Washington. He's the director of the Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom at the Heritage Foundation. So, Nile, do you think our allies will step up with these ISIS fighters as the president is demanding?
Well, I think that some European countries will take back these ISIS terrorists, and hopefully these individuals will be prosecuted. I think the problem, though, is that European courts tend to be so liberal that there is a fear, I think, in some European capitals that some of these fighters could actually be freed and get away scot-free. And I think that's a real problem in Europe, actually, the failure of the court system to be able to deal with these terrorists. And we do have, I think, a major problem as well with some of the supranational European courts, the European Court of Human Rights, for example. So I do think that there's a real problem in terms of Europe's overall reaction to this huge problem. But the president, I think, has made the right point here, which is that European allies should take back ISIS terrorists, have them fully prosecuted. Otherwise, I think they should be really sent to Guantanamo Bay. They cannot be released back onto the battlefield, and undoubtedly these terrorists will inflict further terrorist activity in Europe if they're allowed to roam free. So it's time for European countries to do what is needed in order to fully prosecute these terrorists. But it has to be said, European courts have a very, very weak track record on this.
It's interesting. What resonates with me is what you say. The European countries need to do more for what is needed. It's not just ISIS, but also Iran. Vice President Mike Pence was at the Munich conference on security, basically urging our European allies to do more against Iran. Here's what he said.
The time has come for our European partners to stop undermining U.S. sanctions against this murderous revolutionary regime. The time has come for our European partners to withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal and join us as we bring the economic and diplomatic pressure necessary to give the Iranian people, the region, and the world the peace, security, and freedom they deserve.
He's talking about the partners, but look, Britain, France, and Germany, they're trying to basically create their own way to evade U.S. sanctions. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that Vice President Pence was absolutely right in his message on Iran. It's absolutely outrageous that the European Union and some of the big powers within the EU are siding with the Iranian regime rather than standing with the United States over the Iran nuclear deal. And I think this is a very clear, concise message sent by Vice President Pence. Europe has to make a choice. They either stand with the free world led by the United States, or they stand with the murderous dictatorship in Tehran. And it's absolutely appalling to see, for example, Germany and France, some of the biggest European powers, continuing to do business with the Iranian regime, trying to circumvent U.S. sanctions against Iran. This has to end. And after all, if indeed Iran becomes a nuclear weapons power armed with the kinds of ballistic missiles capable of carrying nuclear warheads, Europe will be first in line to be hit by those missiles. It makes no sense for Europe to be siding with Iran over the Iran nuclear deal. It's absolutely outrageous.